challenged here. There are 14 peaks in the world above 8,000 meters. And this video clip was taken on one of them, our expedition on Manaslu. And here we are on Mount Everest. How would you feel crossing this deep crevasse over 3 shaky ladders? To be honest, I had to push myself out too. Being high in the mountains, we are far outside our comfort zone. And that is not always pleasant, as you can see on this photo. And for sure, I won't win here the Miss Universe contest, but it is here, high in the mountains, that I've learned most about personal leadership and teamwork. So, let's go to the mountains. But before that, let me explain why they inspire me so much. The mountains are my great passion. I'm fully happy there. And first of all, it's because the pure environment, the gratefulness being in this majestic nature, in good weather and in bad. And some people say you conquer the mountain. No. We are so small and insignificant. You can only adapt and anticipate to the circumstances, to the conditions, to nature, to reality. The mountains also help me to get rid of my daily stress, to distract, and also to focus, to see what is important in life. How do you reflect on daily life? Being in the mountains, I love the physical exercise of climbing and hiking. The simple life, just having all in our rucksack. But last but not least, I like to climb in a team, to share the experience. And by climbing together, you do develop a very, very strong bond. You're so dependent on each other. Ultimately, my passion for climbing got a little bit out of hand. I gave up my job and went climbing higher and higher. In 1999, I participated in an international guided Everest expedition. And together with 9 teammates, we summited. After Everest, I started to organize my own expeditions to mountain giants like Gesherbrum 1. And here, we summited with our small team of 4, thanks to the collaboration with 2 other teams. It was the real strength of working together. Climbing these huge mountains, life becomes very difficult above 7,000 meters. The shortage of oxygen has a debilitating effect. You need to rest after a few steps, really exhausted, and you can't further. After rest, another few steps. So, suppose we should go there now, straight to 8,000 meters, with a plane, with a parachute. And against the cold, we are protected by down clothes, against the cold of -30 Celsius. But nevertheless, in 10 minutes we will die. And it's all because of the lack of oxygen. So, to climb these mountains, we need another strategy. How do we climb these mountains? And no, we didn't use bottled oxygen. There is only one way to climb these mountains, and that is climbing and descending up and down to get acclimatized to the oxygen, to the less oxygen level. And so we are going up and down the mountain, gaining gradually altitude every time. And we're setting up our camps and staying up there in tiny tents for 1 to 3 days. Imagine being in such a small tent with 1 or 2 teammates all day. So how do we pass the day? Well, our main job is to ensure we drink enough. We need to drink 7 liters per day. Try to drink 7 liters. And to make it a little bit more difficult, we only have snow. So we are melting all day. We have to melt the whole blue bag, and it takes time, it takes self-discipline, and not to forget gas we have to take up. After a while, we descend back to base camp, mostly at 5,000 meters, already 200 meters higher than Mont Blanc, highest point in West Europe. And in base camp, in the beginning, of course, when we come down, we are a little bit smelly, so first is washing. And then our aim in the next days is recovery and replenishment of the supplies for the next climb up. And mostly, we're waiting again here for days for better conditions. When the weather is good again, the conditions okay, it's up again, higher and higher. And this graphic shows how we are climbing these big mountains. And like in daily life, reaching your goal is not a straight line. After 3 to 5 weeks of climbing up and down, we are finally ready for our summit push. And this is the real test. This is the test, and here we have to do it together. I have had the privilege to stand on top of a few of these very, very big mountains. I also experienced how it is to turn around just 50 meters below the summit. No summit success. But worse, I faced the climbers, I know the climbers, who didn't make it to turn back from their climbs. These losses have huge impact. So, what does it make to be successful on these 8,000 meter peaks? I realized that the most important factors are personal leadership and teamwork. What do I mean with personal leadership? I think you need to be able to lead yourself, to deal with your uncertainties and doubts, to overcome your fears, but also know when to return. It's about pushing yourself, but maybe even more about knowing your personal limits. There is no escape. On a climb, I'm confronted with myself all the time, and so with my limitations, and that's not easy. How about your shortcomings? Do you recognize them? Looking to mine, I'm a perfectionist, and so I have the tendency to look back instead of looking forward. If we should have done this, if today we have decided that, if, it doesn't help. Also me, I have to overcome my own shortcomings. What helps is humor here, or even better, someone in the team who puts me in my place by saying, "Stop moaning, you." In a strong team, you complement each other. And that brings me to the success factor, and that is teamwork. First of all, I want to emphasize that everybody is important. Also the porters who are bringing our equipment to base camp, and our base camp staff. Without our support crew, our climbing team cannot summit. We need the commitment of everybody for that single common goal. Not only in good circumstances, but also when it's getting tough. And imagine, it was not only the snow here, our snow shovel was inside the tent here. Very clever, very good planning. It took a while. We all meet setbacks on our way, no? How do you deal with them? And also, we have to deal with each other. How do you deal within your team? And that's not easy. It asks, first of all, commitment to each other. And that means trust. Also, commitment means be willing to take over, to take the lead, to take your share in the hard work. And here, that's by making the trek through deep snow with 25 kg on your back and sometimes snow to your waist. Commitment also means support, being willing to support each other. And imagine we arrive at the place for the next camp. We had had an exhausting day of climbing, and then it takes hours to set up the camp. And we're all exhausted, and tempers are nearly to boiling. It's very easy to get arguments and to get some problems with each other, mainly when someone is sick and everybody is to his limit. But the person who is sick is just sitting there doing nothing, and the rest is setting up the tents. And we all think, hey, you there, help a little bit. But he can't, he is sick. So we have to be prepared to do the hard work. You must be willing to take over. How are you handling in difficult situations? Are you still willing to help each other? In these extreme circumstances, it's absolutely teamwork at the limit, and you're tested. And only when you're able and when you want to collaborate together, you can make it here to the summit. In the final summit push, every piece of the puzzle must be in place, and it's only then that you can make it to the summit. Standing on this summit is a truly profound experience after all the trials. It's the absolute climax. It's the best I've ever had in my life. Having this view, but the biggest challenge is still ahead. On the summit, you're only halfway. The final challenge is to descend safely. On Mount Everest, 1 out of 100 dies during the descent. On Gasherbrum in Pakistan, we climbed. It's 1 out of 30. So this is serious business. The real success is there only when you're all safe back in base camp. Summarizing. To be successful, whatever your goal may be, I think is about personal leadership and teamwork. And that is first, commitment to a common goal, a single common goal. 2, commitment to each other, trust and support. 3, facing your own limitations and maybe even overcoming them. Being outside your comfort zone, it gives you the possibility to explore your potential, your shortcomings, and your real limit. And it's there that you can develop your leadership and teamwork, and so your results. How do you push out your limits? And how do you develop your leadership and teamwork? Thank you.